In this video, I'm going to show you how to get the highest quality of lead that you have ever received in your entire life. And I'm going to show you how to do that using something called video ads. And basically what I'm going to do is break down exactly step by step how we go about creating video ads for our clients and for our own business, what you need to pay attention to, and ultimately the 3 things that can make or break your success when it comes to using video ads to generate insurance leads. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on it. All right, so I got a little whiteboard here. We're basically going to kind of break this down. I'm going to show you guys a couple of the things that you need to realize when it comes to using video ads for generating insurance leads. So one of the things that I've found works really, really well is if you are actually the one in your ad yourself, right? So basically, I'll kind of show you what this actually would end up looking like if you do this correctly. This is something that we actually help clients do. We call it the personal brand funnel. Where essentially like you are the one in your own ad, right? So you basically have your ad, you have like some kind of a headline here, and then you have like you in the ad explaining a product or, you know, solving a problem, right? From there, you then send them to a page. This would usually be like a page that has like a video on it, right? Generally, you would also then be in the video. And then below this, you have like a survey or an application that people can fill out to apply for a call with you, right? Then from there, you would send them to your calendar, right? Where people can book on your calendar. So you'll get a percentage of people that pre-book appointments. And then obviously you're also going to either outbound dial them yourself or have somebody that outbound dials them for you, right? This is kind of essentially the structure. So the great thing about video ads is that it basically brings somebody in a little bit more pre-framed, right? They have more information. They're, as agents like to say, higher intent when they have already watched a video with you kind of pitching and explaining the product, whether it be IUL or Annuity or whatever you're actually selling, right? It could even be for recruiting agents. But basically, what I found is when you are in the own ads, you kind of build some trust and like you build some familiarity before they speak with you. So like right now we run a ton of ads to agents, right? If you guys log on to Facebook or Instagram or whatever, like you probably see my face all over just because I spend so much damn money on Facebook. And so it's the same kind of thing of like you're becoming more and more familiar with advanced stage of marketing. And that's kind of the same thing you can do for yourself just for IUL or Annuity or again, whatever product you're selling. So that's kind of what I'm going to show you guys how to do. And in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about this step right here, which is the video ad itself and what goes into creating a good one. So let's dive in. The 3 things you need to know, right? First and foremost is the hook of the video. This is by far the singular most important part of any ad, especially a video ad, right? Even in a photo ad, the hook is like the first few sentences of the ad. But you have to have a hook in the video, okay? So what you need to realize is like Facebook and all of these social media platforms, they're basically just like, they're called giant prediction machines. So they can essentially predict what somebody's going to do based off of their past behavior. So they have 52,000 data points on every single one of their users, right? 52,000 data points on every single one of their users. I don't even know 52,000 things about myself. Facebook knows 52,000 things about all of us that are on there, right? So they can predict who is most likely to respond to an ad based off of the first few seconds of, or based off of like that person, right? Which means the first few seconds of your ad is going to determine what type of people you attract, right? So what happened if you've done anything on Facebook before, you know that they kind of like got rid of the targeting options, particularly if you're selling insurance. Like you can't do all this stuff. So what you have to do is instead of like manually going and selecting some audience, you have to call the people out that you want in your ad and in your hook. So I give an example often where I talk about if you want to sell IUL to wealthier people, well, you could sell it as contribute to this after you've maxed out your Roth IRA, right? Because a Roth IRA is a tax-free retirement account and they have contribution limits, right? And they also have income limits. So I believe it's $7K per year. They like change it every year, so I might be wrong. $7K per year you can put in, or if you make over 161K per year, right, you can no longer use this type of account, right? Let me just delete that. You can't use that type of account. So what I can do is in my hook of my video, I could say something like, you know, if you make too much money for a Roth IRA, then blah, 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 blah. And then I could kind of explain the example of like, this is an IUL, you know, you get the tax-free retirement benefits, and there's no income or contribution limits. Or I can say, if you've already maxed out your Roth IRA, but you're looking for another form of tax-free retirement, check this out. And so I'm already immediately just in the hook, right? I'm only going to be talking to people who are maxing out their Roth and making above 161K a year and are actually interested in paying attention to things about retirement. Because there's probably people that make over 161K a year, they aren't even thinking about their retirement, so they wouldn't even pay attention to that hook, right? So those are just some things you need to consider, and I'll show you guys an example of a video that uses that in just a moment. So think about who you want to call out in your hook, right? And there's a lot of nuance, and like, you know, I could probably talk for the next like 15 hours just about different things that can play a factor into your hook. But like, you know, think about your own patterns on social media. When you're scrolling through and you see a video, how do you decide if you're going to watch it or not? The hook has to be engaging, right? And attention grabbing. It has to engage you, catch your attention. And then also, like, you don't want to be obnoxious, right? Some people just think that, you know, being engaging just means screaming at the camera. But like, there's other things that hook you and engage you. Like, you probably don't enjoy the content that's just somebody screaming at the camera, right? You don't watch those videos on YouTube. You probably don't watch those shows on Netflix where it's just someone like screaming. It would be just ridiculous. So don't do that in your hooks, right? You want to say something that's thought-provoking or relevant to them. That's a great way to catch attention, right? The whole key here is essentially you want to create intrigue and kind of like open a loop, right? Open a loop. So in our ads, when we run ads targeting agents, it's like, this is the best way to sell life insurance in 2025. And it's not this, or this. And so in the audience's mind, they're thinking, okay, well, what is it? And then that's why they watch the ad, right? Or if you were selling annuities, you could say like, you know, let's say, for example, let's just say you were selling annuities as like as a hedge against the market's losing money, for example, right? I could say, you know, this is just off the dome. This is not like an actual script that I would use, but you could say like, there's this secret type of account that allows you to participate when the market goes up, but you can't lose money when the market goes down. And I know that sounds too good to be true, but it's used by this person, that person, this person, that person. If you give me the next 15 seconds, I'll explain exactly what it is so you can see if it would be a good fit for you. So see how I'm like opening a loop that they now have to close in their mind, because, you know, I know Shaquille O'Neal uses annuities and there's other people as well. So I could like open the loop for them, right? Open the loop, and then they have to continue to watch the video to close the loop, right? That's a great way to do hooks. So hooks and understanding this is the biggest key. And again, at the end of this, I'll show you guys an example of an ad that combines all these elements. The next thing you need to consider is like, what are you triggering in people, right? And I don't mean triggering like getting them angry, like a trigger warning. I mean like, what are you triggering in their subconscious, and what are you signaling, right? Triggering and signaling, okay? So does anyone, do you guys remember that ad from back in the day? And it was like, here in my garage, right? Here in my garage, just got my new Lamborghini. I'll show you guys the ad if you haven't seen it. But this is a perfect example of what you're triggering and signaling, right? And these are things that people don't actually think about. Let me pull this up, right? You guys have seen this ad. Here in my garage, just got this new Lamborghini here, right? And this guy, I mean, he's filming the ad on an iPhone, but think about what is this signaling to you? It's signaling to you that this guy is high status, that he knows what he's talking about, right? And then he has all these books, right? He's like, oh, you know, I'm a millionaire because I read, right? And you can see like there's all these random books like rock and roll and something about beef. Like, this guy is showing you, he's signaling to you without directly telling you. Like, there's two ways you can say something. You can say something indirectly or directly. I could say, I'm rich, I have a Lamborghini, and I read a lot of books. Therefore, you should trust me, listen to me, and buy my product, right? Or you could do what he's doing, and he's kind of almost like opening the curtain into his life to like show you what's going on. And so it seems more natural and it intrigues you more. But he's signaling like, okay, I'm rich and successful because I have a Lamborghini in the garage, but this is how I got successful because I read and I value knowledge. And if you want to be successful, you should also consume knowledge. Therefore, you should buy what I'm selling you, right? That's essentially what this guy's communicating. So how does that relate to insurance? Well, you got to think like, I see a lot of people and they'll film an ad in like a t-shirt and, you know, they look like think about who you're trying to target and think about who that person wants you to be, right? There's something to be said for being yourself, but there's also something to be said that people want to work with the people that they want to work with, right? So I'm not going to attract wealthy clients, right? I'm not going to attract baby boomers that have retirement savings if I'm wearing streetwear, right? Like I'll see people, they'll film the ad and like, you know, they look like they're about to go to like a basketball game and they're trying to sell annuities to like 60-year-olds. Like they're not clicking on that ad. They're not interested. They think that you're inexperienced and don't know what you're talking about. So if you want to target younger people who are maybe more open and impressionable to those type of things, then you should dress like a younger person. But if you're wanting to target like wealthy people that have money, you need to dress like someone that they would want to work with, right? So I've made this mistake for the longest time. I used to wear like, you guys go back to some of my old videos, you know, I would film videos in like a tank top, you know, and I thought that if I just dressed the way that I wanted, it would be more authentic, but it's not true because people want to work with someone who's professional, but also not too professional. So there's kind of like this may sound complicated, but there's like a spectrum, right? And here you have like, you know, Tim in the tank top, which is just not the move, right? Lesson learned. And then here you have like, you know, imagine if I had like completely slicked back hair, like I was, you know, in the movie Grease, and I was wearing like a suit and a tie and like a suit jacket, and I had like, you know, Rolex on. You'd be like, okay, this guy might be a little too sharp. I don't know if I want to talk to this guy because he's going to close me, right? And so you want to kind of be here, right, where you're professional but also relatable. And so the way that you can do that is like there's all kinds of things that go into this, right? Your background, the way you talk, the way you look, what you're wearing, right? This is just a polo with my company's name on it. I would wear a polo to film an insurance ad, right? I wouldn't wear a t-shirt. You don't want to just be, you know, in like your kitchen. That wouldn't make sense. Like you want to signal that you are an expert and you're professional and they can trust you with their money, but also you're not a salesperson who's just going to like, if you jump on, you're going to get closed. That's what you want to do. And there's all kinds of little things that go into it. You know, again, like your jewelry, if you're wearing a watch, if you're not wearing a watch, if you're a female, if you're wearing makeup, or if you're not wearing makeup, like all these little things, like we don't think about them when we're creating the ads, but it 100% makes a difference. So triggering and signaling. And then the last piece that I find is extremely important, and this goes for any advertising, but you'll usually see this like magnified in video ads, is the angle, okay? So, for example, I work with my phone outside my office, so I can't show you guys my phone, but imagine that I was holding an iPhone right here, right? We'll just iPhone, okay? How many different ways are there to sell this iPhone? Infinite. There are infinite ways to sell the iPhone. I could make an entire pitch off of buy the camera, right? And then within that, there's all these different ways I could sell the camera. I could sell it to new moms who want to take photos of their babies. I could sell it to photographers, right? I could sell it to YouTubers, right, who are going to film videos. Oh, you can just use your camera. I know I did that wrong, but whatever. I could sell it to insurance agents who want to film their own video ads. There's all different ways that I could position and sell this iPhone, right? And that's just on the camera. What about the battery life? Oh, it has great battery life, which means that you can go and hike in the woods and your phone won't die. Oh, it has great battery life, so if you're working all day and you need to have your phone, it's not going to die on you. Oh, it has great battery life, which means you can give it to your kids. And if they have a phone, like, it's not going to die and you're still going to be able to track them and know where they are. So, like, legitimately, we could sit here and brainstorm infinite ways to sell and angle this iPhone. But each of those ways is going to attract a different person, right? And I might have to get this like tattooed on my forehead so you guys get the message. But the quality of your marketing determines the quality of your customer, and the quality of your customer determines the quality of your business. So if I want higher quality customers, then I just need to change the angle at which I'm marketing, right? So the way that I think about this is kind of like what I was talking before. What you say in the hook is going to determine who watches the ad, and it's basically a feedback loop. So if unqualified people start watching your ad and clicking on your ad and filling out your form, Facebook's going to give you more of those people. If qualified, wealthy people are watching your ad, filling out your form, you're going to get more of those people. It's a feedback loop. So the angle really, really plays a factor into that, right? So there's tons of different ways that we can sell, right? I'm going to remove this iPhone to avoid confusion, but now we're talking about life insurance or IULs, annuities, those kind of things. How many different angles are there that we could use? Well, IUL, we could talk about tax-free retirement. Who is that going to attract just by the nature of what I'm selling, right? You guys got to think about like read between the lines here. If somebody wants tax-free retirement, that means they're worried about taxes. Who's worried about taxes? People who are making money, right? If you're not having to pay taxes, you're not worried about taxes. If your tax bill is, $3K a year, you're probably not going to spend a ton of time like trying to get tax-free money. So people that are making money usually are going to be more drawn to something that is tax-free. What's another way to sell it? A lot of people nowadays, they use it as like this whole like bank on yourself and build wealth. I'm just saying bank. But the problem is they do this in a way where it's almost like it looks like a TikTok video, right? They like make it, they get, young women usually to like basically make like a TikTok talking about how you can bank on yourself and become a millionaire overnight. So who is that going to attract, right? Probably not your qualified, well-off people that are going to make serious decisions. Because serious people are not going to TikTok for financial advice. So if you make your ad look like it's a TikTok video, guess who you're not going to get? Serious people, right? Another example, what you could do for IUL is like the children's IUL to help people like save for college. You're going to get parents that care about their kids. Maybe or maybe not, they're going to be super well off, but you're going to get people that have kids. That means that usually if someone has kids, a lot of times they'll also have a spouse, which means you can sell the kids, the spouse, and the person that filled out the form. So like there's all these different things, and you got to think about what are the advantages of going after this angle versus that angle, and how can I use that in my video ad? So those are the three things. I'm going to show you guys an example of a video ad, and then we're going to go from there. All right, so we have this program. We call it the personal brand funnel. We basically help you with that entire process. We put you in the ad. We help you write the scripts. We edit the videos for you. We do all of that so that you can start attracting your dream clients and getting higher quality prospects to build your business off of. And one of the agents that we did this for is allowing me to basically share what their video looks like. So I'm going to show you guys right here. Listen up.
Have you maxed out your Roth IRA but want more tax-free retirement? There's a special type of retirement account that is 100% tax-free, has no contribution limits, and no income limits.
Right? So notice there, we're 11 seconds in, but in the first few seconds, I say, do you make too much money for a Roth IRA? If you don't make too much money for a Roth IRA, you are not paying attention to that ad. Therefore, I have disqualified all of the people that are not going to be a fit for this, right? Doesn't mean that some of them won't fill out the form, but based off of who I'm targeting, I'm going to get higher quality people. And then I say no contribution limits and no income limits. Guess who doesn't care about income limits or contribution limits? People that don't have money, right? People that have money care about those things. So this entire ad is tailored towards people that have money. Now, you'll notice there's like this little like cord thing in the background. His background looks really good. Other than this, maybe I'll get my like video editors to edit it out with like AI or something for him. But like he's got these little awards. He's got the fireplace on the TV in the background. He looks very professional, right? He has a polo, so he doesn't look like too slick, but he looks intelligent. And he also sounds very trustworthy, right? he sounds like someone that I would trust with my money.
It's used by 85% of Fortune 500 CEOs, and yet nearly nobody talks about it. It's called an IUL, or Indexed Universal Life.
Right? So I'm not going to play the whole video, but you guys kind of get the idea. But as you can see, right, like his name is Cole. Cole's an awesome guy, and he's one of the agents using our personal brand funnel. Like look at him, like he looks very trustworthy. He looks like very friendly, and he looks like someone that you wouldn't be scared to jump on a call with this guy, right? And so that's kind of like the whole idea. So hook, triggering and like what shows up in their subconscious, and then lastly the angle. So hopefully you guys get value from this. If you did, leave a like, and if you want to learn more about the personal brand funnel or working with us in a closer way, click the link down below and feel free to book a call with our team. See you guys soon.